Welcome, everybody, to Burbs Bros. That was almost natural. I'm your host, Dan St. Germain. I'm here with my co-host, Sean Donnelly, and our producer, Pat. We wanted to talk about, first off, the new general direction of the show. We've decided that we're going to focus mostly on UAP stuff. Sean broke me. That's what
this
I'm trying to say.
Much like Jim Jones in where was that, in Haiti or Guyana? I have a new recruit, and it's Dan St. Germain.
And it'll end the same way. Except for it'll just be, there won't be poison in the Kool-Aid. It'll just be our diabetes from all the sugar. We just don't have insulin on the island. We just do a terrible job preparing the island. You, me, and Tom. We got to bring Tom Lewis, our old producer. Yeah, that guy's like a fucking survival man.
He is
in the woods. But
so guys, I did rope Dan in. Dan's really into the topic of UAPs.
I'm like legit and answer this now. It's not like do you think I'm on your level as far as interest? I know I don't knowledge yet.
You're me in 2017.
So I'm worse than you right now.
No, because I'm like the things pop
you're
up.
A little bit more.
And I've read the stuff that you're reading now and getting excited about. I've read a bunch of it, and I'm like, yeah, I believe some of this as well.
Know. That's what I mean. You're like, he's like, Sean's all nonplussed. I'm like, I put these stories. He's like, yeah, I got it. Like, I forgot.
But I'll talk about this because I just did Soder's podcast, and the last half hour we talked about this.
That. Dan will be on the podcast at some point. Although Dan and my wife, who are very similar in a lot of ways.
But really quickly, I'm sorry to stop you, but guys, so the new direction of the podcast, it's going to be paranormal stuff. We're still going to have suburban stuff and comics, our buddies, the big comics. Right. We're also going to have people in the world of the paranormal and UAP stuff, and we're going to have all the newest developments on that topic. But most importantly, it's really important that you guys, I don't know if you're listening to this or watching this, right now, pause it for a second and do the opposite of what you do. So if you're listening, go to the YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube. If you're watching, go to Apple Podcasts, whatever you guys use, and full on subscribe to the show's audio, because we need this. We're trying to get 1,000 on YouTube. The people who have been watching on YouTube have been awesome. The Supreme is awesome. Like every week, this guy watches live, and there's a bunch of regulars that watch the show. So it's only gonna get better from here. So make sure
a community.
I want to build a community. Exactly right.
I think that, and to give you an idea, we have some fun guests coming up. At least one of the last podcast guys, either Ed or Henry, is going to be here in a couple episodes, and we're working out the schedule for the rest of the episodes. But yeah, follow us on Instagram. Leave a message if you want the Patreon. Our beginning of I said this on an Instagram story, but the beginning of our Patreon is going to be very much like the early version of the show, where there's going to be a lot of us talking about a lot of fun news stories. And we think most likely the Patreon is going to evolve. This podcast keeps evolving, but it's going to evolve to more of a paranormal, supernatural tilt, which means that we need your guys' questions and we need your guys' experiences. So if you follow the Instagram account, you can call it and leave a message. And then we will, I think once we get some times on the books, and I'll talk to Pat about this, but we can do an Instagram story of like, hey, we're going to be here live for this date, probably like in April. And that we'll do like more of a call in for that. But, it's now that we got all the business out of the way, like I have had a profoundly religious experience and I wanted to open with this. So, it's been like professionally, and I think with my wife are great, but personally, the last couple of years, it's been a little rough at times. So, I lost a mom, and I do think that has something to do with it. Sure. And also, now that I work in wrestling, I'm not watching wrestling anymore, so I don't have that escape. But like, I've been really fucking into this, and the last 2 weeks, Sean, like, I have been inviting the interdimensional beings to speak to me in my sleep. Now,
okay.
Wait.
You might have won.
I need to finish.
I'm listening. Sorry.
So the first day that I did it, I was like, I don't care what you guys want to show me. I just want to be part of you. I want to be part of this new consciousness. And I fell asleep and I had a dream. What do you think that dream was?
About wrestling?
Some guy fucked my wife. It had nothing to do with the fucking aliens. It wasn't even an alien that fucked my wife. It was just a random guy that fucked my wife. My point is that like I am the least paranormal conducive person you're ever going to meet. I'm never going to have an experience. I think like the aliens are honestly shunning me at this point. I will never have a paranormal. I've never had the closest I've had was I was on mushrooms and I saw some of the things that Alessandro describes in his house when they started to look at the UAP stuff. Yeah, but that was on mushrooms. You ever saw that on mushrooms?
No. Well, I've only done it a couple times. Well,
if
one of the amounts
go
was
outside in the, like near the sun, and like then all of a sudden they start commenting and shit. Like that.
I think he was talking. He wasn't on mushrooms. He just saw these objects.
What he describes sober is what I saw on mushrooms.
Okay. Oh yeah. If you don't know what
legit, that wasn't me making it like because on mushrooms, like everyone's like, oh, you see a fox with like a Dr. Seuss hat. You don't see that stuff. You see plants breathing, and you see stuff like this, like light.
You see a gray alien cuckolding you.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Lou Elizondo is one of the biggest figures in this disclosure process.
Lou, come on the show.
Lou, come on the show, please, please, please. That would be a huge get for us. And in his book, Imminent, he talks about how when he started working in this in the Department of Defense, and then this it was called ASAP, and then ATIP. You can look this all up. He followed him home, and like his family, multiple people saw these orbs just float right into their house or outside their house. And
the reason this came up is because his wife was like, "We need to have a talk." She was seeing it without him even saying anything.
Yeah. Because he couldn't, it was so top secret, he couldn't say what he was doing at work. Yeah.
But look, guys, we're still going to have some, like at the end of this episode, we have a new story that's very Earth. It is very Earth. So we'll still have try to have one crazy Earth story every week. I just, I think Sean and I were feeling, and it's like, there's so many fucking comics sitting around making joke podcasts. Let's do something that really ruins our life. And
absolutely.
And that's where the supernatural comes in.
Well, people think
natural.
People thought I was a wackadoo for the past 7 years. After I got divorced, and they're like, Donnelly's lost it with this stuff. He's crazy.
Yeah, I would say that. I'd say usually when someone's like, does this people think about me? You're like, no, they don't think that. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, there's some smoke to that fire. I'm joining you, so I'm not thrilled about this. I see what's waiting for me at the end of the bar. It's not great.
But no, dude. So
and what a perfect time to switch this mission of the podcast, Sean. And why is that?
Because the House Oversight Committee announced a disclosure task force. So the announcement was made by Representatives Comer and Luna. I think her name is Anna Paulina Luna, and she is a very, very right-wing senator. I forget what state she's from. So full on, the thing about this is what's so funny is she had an announcement the other day. She's like, I have a bigger announcement than UFOs, and all it is I started this task force about UFOs.
Dude, that's exactly when the comedians we know are like, big news coming, and then it's next day it's a web series that their parents are funding. That's what this is.
Guys, my new EP is coming out. It's 3 tracks for Spotify.
Yeah, she set this up like she's gonna be like fucking doing 2 girls, 1 cop with 2 grays, and in fact that is not exactly what happened.
So it's she said, this is Representative Luna, we stand at the dawn of a new era. Luna stressed that the committee is bipartisan, which is true. This is the only bipartisan thing in our government, which shows you something. It's not,
well, it's just that neither of them understand it.
Because there's a theory that the right wingers, this is why it gets so political, are pushing for this disclosure and for the JFK things to show the inefficiency of government and how government tries to screw you. So they're like, hey, we're draining the swamp by getting these documents out. That's supposedly the angle. But she's been working with other Democratic lawmakers on this for years. She was part of the hearing in the Congress.
Yeah, no, I remember.
She was part of all this.
Total loon,
and she's smoking hot on top of it.
Very attractive lady.
So Luna stressed the committee is bipartisan. It includes Democratic lawmakers. The task force will not have subpoena powers, which that seems kind of shitty. Isn't that kind of the whole point of those things?
She just described a feckless organization.
The committee will back the task force to compel testimony if needed. So basically, they're just going to strongly suggest that some people testify that they have been part of these programs. And
which they've been doing already.
What do? They just show up to their office like, come on. Like The Simpsons, where he's like, please.
Wait,
when he's like tries to kick him out of town and Sideshow Bob.
Oh yeah,
and he goes, I can be very persuasive. He's like, come on. He's like, no. He's like, please.
My question though is, and this is probably something you've dealt with as far as like thinking about this. Obviously, I don't know what these ladies. I haven't studied what these ladies' domestic opinions are. But if she's a Republican in fucking 2025, you know, she's most likely vigorously pro-life, vigorously anti-trans, at least anti-trans. Who knows about anti-gay? Usually those two things are what, you know, they're not necessarily the same, but there's some overlap. So what are they going to do with this info? If like if like what Jake Barber is describing, like I felt a divine feminine energy. If like that already is contradicting the Republican idea of the male, you know, head God. So like I'm wondering like
I don't think they're thinking that far ahead.
You don't think?
I think all she's concerned with is complete and utter transparency to the people, because like Tim Burchett's the other Republican that
we want to talk about him too. He's Tim Burchett is another very Republican congressman
who talks like he owns a 5 and dime in 1965.
Yeah, but he's talking about intergalactic. But I'd say his opinions on the issue are the closest to the podcast hosts, because he's the only one. He said stuff that I've said where they're like, do you think they're threatening? And he's like, if they're threatening, we'd be wiped out. He's like, yes. their technology is so far advanced. Yeah, which is something you and I believe. You know,
I believe that as well. I don't know if
they're benevolent, but I don't think they're fucking with us.
I don't think they're fucking with us either. And the Lou Elizondo take that we talked about recently in the podcast, where it's like this is all recognizance, or this is all like a setup for some sort of invasion. And he's like, because he's military based, he's like, I see hints of that being the case. I think like you, I'm like, if they wanted to, it'd be a 14-second situation where they just wipe everybody out and you're done. I don't think it's that. I think it's the observed part of it. I think it's the observed. Or it's crossing over, or it's they've been here the whole time. Just like, you know, we talk about the radiation aspect of this thing. We showed up on their meter, and now they're like, let's check out this situation. Or it's we're in a project, and they're just watching the project and see what happens. And there's been 14 billion of these things over the course of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a it's an ant farm science project. You know,
yeah. Well, I was wondering, you know, because and I was thinking, like, I went to the gym for the first time in a long time on Wednesday. And I was like, am I deciding this or the aliens deciding this in the algo? Because like, there's been plenty of times where I just don't go to that gym. And this one I actually went to the gym. Yeah. So I'm like, are they trying to keep me alive? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for a daddy alien. That's my problem.
A sugar daddy alien.
Sugar daddy alien.
A zaddy.
A zaddy.
Well, here's the thing, man. The other thing that I thought of today.
A reptizzy.
The thing I thought of today with this whole topic is, so the first thing that got me into it, I guess I was always like, it's interesting. Even when you're a kid, you're like,
anybody's X-Files. I actually like the stuff more than you did before you did, but then I stopped. Like, I liked all the X-Files stuff, all the paranormal. I was totally into that shit in middle school.
So the first, it's 2017 is when that article came out. They were giving you crumbs back then. They were like, hey, we're just admitting there was this government, this group that was using money to study this. And then everything kind of, you know, it was like dominoes. It started going, and now it's just out, right? Mm-hmm. But, and somebody's probably brought this up, I guess, but because of that article, I started looking at videos online and reading whatever I could and all this. Dude, the same way Jake Barber is legitimate and people are like, this is serious, and Lou Elizondo's kind of like that, and David Grush, there's been people in the past that have the same kind of credentials, but they weren't vetted. They didn't have the character witness. They weren't vetted. This guy, Philip Corso, who was in the Army, came out and he was like a deathbed confession, but he had an interview where he described seeing gray aliens, and people were like, oh, Philip Corso, he's out of his mind. Paul Hellyer, he was like the Minister of Defense in Canada, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. The guy was, when he came out about this, he was probably 60, 70 years old. He was completely lucid, but nobody took that as seriously because it's Canada. And then also it's because it was before all this stuff.
All Canada can do is study. They don't get an award. They're up there with the telescopes. They're a first world nation without conflict. They're great.
But you know what I mean? Like these guys make the guys from the past more legit because they're saying the same exact thing.
Well, you and I were talking, you know, because one of the I think colorful characters in the UAP community is Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a guy crying halfway through an interview, just pull up any Stephen Greer interview because that man cannot hold his shit together. But a lot of the stuff he's describing is completely true. He's also been accused of being a scam artist. I have a buddy of mine who thinks my buddy is like Irish, is like, he's a scam artist and they be promising us disclosure the whole time. My buddy Virgil, he's like, I'm like, stop being Irish right now and just read the news. But he's totally into this shit too. So I think that the frustrating thing is we just don't know who are the charlatans, or to Sean's point, there could be a charlatan that does use some of the truth, like if all these,
I think that's Greer. I think that's what Greer is.
And I think like if we have a bunch of people that are studying this, like the thing about a defense contra, what do they say? Like if the CIA discovered a pool of water, the first thing they're going to try to do is see how they can drown you in it. That's just how.
Sure.
So it's like if the people that are doing this are all, hey, every problem looks like a nail because I'm holding a hammer, people, they may just be picking up the wrong lessons.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And like you're saying, it's like if you have nefarious intent, which is basically what it is, and they qualify by saying it's for national defense or whatever it is. Yeah, you're not coming at it from you see the Jake Barber thing. He's like, oh my god, I was one with the object. Like CIA. On an official level is not coming at it like that. Even when they're studying remote viewing or they're studying LSD or they're doing all this stuff, they're doing it to be like, how can we weaponize this stuff? Oh yeah. And then the other side, on the private citizen side of this stuff, everybody's like, oh my god, I'm having these like insane interactions with aliens or with these craft.
I 100% when this disclosure happens, we are not going to find out the CIA was using this to better understand their enemy. They were using this to brainwash someone to kill their enemy.
Yes. This Manchurian candidate situation.
So a lot of this, but I think the frustrating thing for both Sean and I, especially for me because I'm new to this, is there's a lot of bullshit with the topic. So if you want to send me stuff, but fucking send me real shit. Okay, I'll just say right now, I don't fucking believe this cryptid shit at all. I think the cryptid shit is getting in the way of real disclosure. And I'm reading that Jacques, what's his name? Vallée. I'm reading a Jacques Vallée book. He's the French scientist that Close Encounters of the Third Kind was based on, which I also watched last night.
And he advised on the movie itself.
That's how insane.
Yeah.
I watched last night. But the problem with him is this then turns into like all the Irish stories of fairy tales and how the fairies can be aliens, and you're like, I guess, but like this kind of clouds some shit, man.
It does, but this guy's been in it for what Close Encounters is 50 years ago.
He's not Greer. He's definitely smarter than Greer.
And in one of
the James, he's smarter than Greer.
Yes. Yeah. And he in one of the James Fox movies in the Phenomenon.
Again? Sorry, just to
Jacques Vallée.
Okay.
In Phenomenon, it's not just his take on what the phenomenon is, because that's his opinion, right?
Yeah.
He has, they have objects that they test the isotopes on, right? So he's coming from a real world stance on this as well. He's just been in it so long. He's privy to a lot of information about this stuff. His thing, his is different than cryptids. Because what he's saying, he's not saying that fairies are real. What he's saying is
we're misidentifying.
It's this, whatever this thing is, it almost goes along with the the Barber thing, or the consciousness thing we talked about recently, where it's like, it's this one thing that can present itself to humans however it wants. So it whatever's fitting for the time. That's why you're seeing fairies. You're seeing light balls, whatever it is, or Ezekiel's wheel in the Bible, which is like.
Well, that's interesting because the next chapter I read, they sometimes appear as things that fuck your wife. So. That's interesting. One of the fairies.
But really Vallée, like, down. I think you're not the only one to say think that Vallée may be a little bullshit, because he also gets dramatic. Even in the Phenomenon, the dramatic, the results, getting the results is dramatic. So like I've always said, it's like you have to kind of monitor like who seems, like you said, charlatan types or something like that. Yeah. And the more boring you are, the more I believe you in the UFO world.
Another example that we can use, me and Sean are fans of the TWA Flight 800 I think it was Flight 800 documentary, and it was that plane that went over JFK and spontaneously combusted according to the military, but was most likely shot down by our own military craft in just a botch.
Great documentary.
A botch, great. But the point that in that documentary, everyone who speaks is fucking what's Stephen Root from Office Space. You know, like they're just very like where's my stapler? Like they're not like they're not the Ancient Aliens guys.
No,
but
they're not. They're not selling a book.
I'm obsessed with all this shit. I've been I think it's related to the dead. I have no proof to that.
I think it's related to the dead as well.
I did go to a psychic medium yesterday. It did not go well.
Yeah, you told me, right? Tell everybody about it.
She opened with, "Oh, your mommy's here. She's calling you Danny."
Did she say mommy?
Yeah, she goes, "Your mom's here calling you Danny," and I go, "She never called me Danny," and that was it. That was basically.
That's pretty funny. I love when psychics bomb.
Like immediately.
Immediately. That's
like,
insane.
Yeah, just complete like her opener, and then her second one was. Like, well, your mom loved your comedy. I'm like, no, she didn't. I was like,
now I know your bullshit.
She went to my half-hour special. She's the only one with a stone face in the crowd. My Comedy Central half-hour special. She like fucking. She was having the least fun out of everyone there. And I killed that taping, you know.
Of course.
But my mom, like everyone was laughing, and then I look around. My mom's just like, what the fuck is this shit? Anyway, Mom, hope you're up there with the Grays.
Well, here's the thing.
Having
It's
a
like
screwdriver.
I also think, like, okay, so it relates to one of the articles we have that you put together is, I think it's some of this is like, we don't understand our full science. Like our science is way different. When they start, there's things that are related to this that are science that we're like, oh yeah, the scientists noticed this is like the heavy neutrinos in the water, or whatever, like a heavy amount of neutrino, high energy.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that, or like there's a famous thing called the slit experiment, whatever it's called, where it's like the electrons reacting differently depending if they're being viewed or not. Like, or the idea that we've talked about this a little bit. The idea that like particles that are related to each other can like that they can kind of communicate from like one side of the earth to the other. If something happens to one particle, it could be across the city, and the other one reacts differently as well on like an atomic level.
Some sort of grid we don't know. They're on some interconnected grid we don't know.
I think if you get down to you go past what is it? Neutrinos is smaller than atoms, right? I think it's like you get down past atoms, past all that, and there's something at that fabric that.
So you're saying somewhere in Mumbai, two people could also be having a shitty podcast. Somewhere through the butterfly effect, someone else is bombing in Asia. Well, can we go actually the sheet about the neutrinos, Pat? Because that's a big news story this week. It's in our Google Doc.
And I think you wrote on the thing. You said, "Is it their way of?"
Is it? Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. First off, I don't know, but I don't know. It's I'm sorry. It's the other one. It's the episode one. You should be shared with that.
I don't think it's coincidental at all. Now you have an article in the New Yorker about.
No, that's not it. I'll share this to you again, Pat, right now.
It's you know what I mean? Like it's now once these doors open, you full on now. It's people are giving
you have access. Sorry, keep going.
People are given permission to completely just write about this stuff, and I think it's all part of the disclosure process.
There. I just said it. You think it's okay? So we're pulling the story up now. What Sean's saying is. There's a new particle that's been found, and they have no explanation of this ultra high energy neutrino found. They have no evidence. They have no explanation where it's from. Now, part of the ancillary stories that we've heard are that there are bases under the water. The Republican congressman believes that these alien civilizations are under the water. So they're not saying in this article, but they do highly hint at this could be NHI, non-human intelligence. This could be what's fueling what we think is the non-human intelligence.
The short of it is right that you had it a second. Here we go. Ultra high energy neutrino. Scientists have just detected a neutrino that is 30 times more energetic than any previously detected anywhere in the world. This exceptional discovery opens up a new perspective on understanding extreme energy phenomena in the universe and the origin of cosmic rays. So, yeah, what they're trying to say is like, there's a lot of firsts. Like, just like you had the James Webb telescope, and they're like, hey, by the way, the universe might be 100 million years more older than we thought it was. Like,
yeah.
Once you find out all this info, it's they don't know what's at the base of all this stuff. So,
well, that's the thing is that like, and I think that when I talk about disclosure, they want to explain this through scientific terms, so it's easier for them to explain this through neutrinos that they found than an alien civilization.
Because they have evidence. That's full on evidence.
That's full on evidence.
And that's why I buy. That's why when you have the Elizondos and stuff, like he says it. They're like, it's not just us going, this is our guess on what this is. They have like this. They have full radar information. They have all these like these instruments that can be like, yeah, there's something there. It went this speed, it went this direction, it did the zigzag. It has all these 5 observables. This is based off science. So when it's like that, you can't deny it at that point. Like if they have the information, they have the evidence. What else are you supposed to think? That it's that these guys, everything's faulty, their machineries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
can I speak to the aliens for 1 second, Sean?
You speak to them?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to say?
I want to say this. You guys are clearly leaving breadcrumbs for us to follow and decipher this puzzle that you've presented for us. We're not smart enough. We're not going to figure it out. Just tell us what the fuck is going on and save our asses. Because if you really think that Pete Hegseth or some of these fucking guys that Trump is going to like look at this like fucking Mahatma Gandhi or some shit, you're out of your fucking mind. Sorry, I'm not telling you guys are clearly more superior intelligence, but we're not ready for this. So can you tell us how to be ready for this? Can you just tell us what to do telepathically? Literally just tell us, brother. Like,
you ever think that if they're in control of everything, why wouldn't they make it where we can't figure this? They're kind of doing that in a way, but why wouldn't they make it where we're completely?
They're like, ooh, he's a little, ooh. And that's how actually Valais describes them as their trickster gods.
Yes.
You know?
Well, even the Tom DeLonge thing is they're gods with a small G. And then
funny if he was like a little gay man with like little like leaves as like a little like diaper, like a little fake, like little fake roses in his hair. It's like, hello, I'm the alien.
Just Adrian Adonis.
Man, most underrated wrestler ever.
Yeah, they show up and it's just a pain in the ass. That's all it is.
Hi, Nino. We just want to watch fucking Traitors, bro. And he's like, not before I give my 2 cents on Tom Sandoval.
He's just goosing people. He's just God
damn it! Another fucking one of these gay aliens grabbed my dick.
These tricksters. I think we have a new name for the. We're not going to call it the
tricksters?
NHI. No, Nino. You said Nino.
Nino the trickster. And he's got like a little mustache. I do think because one of the things they describe,
he's just what's the 1980s thing about AIDS? The Angels in America. He's just like a character from
God, you made it so dark. The guy who speaks to Roy Cohn before he kills him because of not helping out during the AIDS crisis. I do think that these. I am saying to you guys, come out, reach out to me or Sean. That also Third Encounter is a great movie.
Great movie. You know what? It's great you said that because one of the other theories is that Spielberg's coming out with it. There's the one that's the documentary that's coming out that has like the 30 witness heart. It was like in secret.
Oh yeah. When is that coming out? By the way,
I don't know. It might be like next month or something. And then Spielberg has his own coming out, which is like that's going to be big because I think. The same way that he worked with Jacques Vallée, I think he's privy to some kind of shit. Because even
he's on a level of income we can't understand. Once you get to billionaire, they're like, "Hey, you want to see the
alien?
It's in my solarium."
Yeah, if Jackie Gleason saw it, he saw. Right. You know what I mean?
Spielberg is. I think Spielberg's higher on the ladder than Jackie Gleason.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
So, but
there's nothing to take away from Jackie Gleason. But
the thing about it is like, but there's things that show up in movies and TV that I'm like. They might know, like even might be
well. That's what Jake Barber was talking about with the egg, Mork and Mindy. Mork comes in through an egg.
Exactly.
But my thing about that, Sean, is like our human brains. We equate beginning with an egg. We equate life with an egg.
Oh.
So like I think that one is that one I feel like an independent storyteller could come up with. On their own because it's
like
it's just something a human would come up with.
Yeah, well, I'll say this: there's also an egg. There's an orb like in the Sonic movies. I don't know if it's from the game or not, but my girlfriend's son.
Great game, Sonic the Hedgehog. Great game. Check it out.
But in the movies, Jim Carrey's the bad guy. The thing that not the Sonic movies. I'm sorry, it was the 1960s cartoon they made into like a newer cartoon. Mr. Peabody and the kid, whatever it is.
I don't know this.
And they have their own craft they fly around on, and it looks like these orbs, like the egg, or like these circular orbs that now is like UFO.
You're seeing all these aliens are just becoming shitty TV writers. that's why it was so hard for me to get staffed. Sorry, Lexor got it.
People just see this stuff and then they're just like, I got an idea for a screenplay.
Yeah, I got an idea for a screenplay. But we got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about today. What's next on the docket, Pat, for this episode?
So I do think that there's...
Okay, yes. This is the question I wanted to talk about. And this is back to the Laura Loomer of it. That was her name, right? The Congress... What was her name?
Anna Paulina Luna or something like that.
Yeah. Back to this. There is a fear within the FBI right now, because the FBI seems like to be the one institution that and some of the judiciary that's standing up against Trump. And especially with the January 6th. If there were some agents that worked on the January 6th insurrection that are also working on UAP stuff, they can be furloughed. And so it's the bigger question of like what's happening with this U.S. aid. If you guys pay attention to U.S. aid being cut,
Defunct,
and there's a real debate on it, because some of that is for sure used, to feed third world countries and give them irrigation systems, and some of it's probably CIA black ops money.
Sure.
And they're trying, and that's so like that's the danger whenever you cut one of these intelligence agents. You don't know what part you're cutting off, especially when we've heard that like the hand doesn't talk to the elbow. We don't know, like there's we don't know what we're getting rid of essentially.
So that's when you get really scary pushback. if USA gets kicked back in, then you're like, oh yeah, something went down. There was a meeting. There was a late night visit or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the same way, like Elon Musk, did you see that thing with him in the White House? Like
no, I heard
it looks like Angus Young from AC/DC, and he's just like, it's like this kid's there, and
he's like running around.
It's weird, man.
I'll tell you what it is. It's just like I guess we'll just get political at time. I don't like Elon Musk clearly, but like he's like it's a way to cuck. It's like, look, I'm cucking the office.
Absolutely.
Look. Oh, you guys think this is the Oval Office? This is sacred. I'm gonna have a little kid run around.
Yeah.
It's all fucked up like alpha billionaire shit.
It's fucking creepy, is what it is.
Yeah.
But but what I'm saying is you're absolutely right. So they're probably hiding money for this kind of not just UFOs, but like
100%
these campaigns they have in these to kill dictators and do whatever. That's like back in the day.
When a government like Trump comes in and they take such aggressive action, you're gonna find some true stuff. You're going to find like, oh, yeah, we were spending money on this shit.
I saw a clip of him talking about that they looked into some of these employees, these bloated bank accounts that they were like, we know their salaries and now they're worth like $30 million. How does that happen? I'm like, you're not wrong. Like I don't mind. Nobody minds cutting fat. Nobody minds that.
No, I'm totally interested to hear that.
Yeah. But the way it's like
when they're like, we're making peace with Ukraine, I'm like, great. I don't fucking care what party it is. I just want world peace.
But they have this like savior complex. Like, see, I'm your Lord and Savior.
It's just fucking politics, man. Democrats are terrible with that.
Let me ask you this: I never brought up to you. Did you ever see the Turkish? Hey, Pat, would you be able to look up the Turkish UFO? Look it up, Turkish UFO. I forget what year it was. It's the one where this guy was like, he ran a lighthouse in like some like island in, like near Turkey or whatever it is, and he had some insane camera. And 3 years in a row, I don't know if it'll come up. It looks like night vision. Yeah, there it is. The third one down there in Reddit. See this shape, silver right here. That it right there.
When is this from, Sean?
This there it is. So here we go.
I mean, that is fucking the best video I've seen of this shit.
Yeah, it's great, right? Now,
if that's real. It hasn't been debunked.
It's never been debunked. People's theory is that it's the top of a cruise ship.
Where can they find this video, Sean?
If you can just Google it, it's what? Reddit has it.
And it's
just
called
Turkish UFO.
Where in Turkey is it?
It's like Kamba. I can't pronounce it.
Okay, yeah.
We'll go back to it.
I have a timeshare there. Yeah.
But if you hit play for a second, it's kind of crazy because at one point, this is probably the truncated version. Oh, it's Kumburgaz, Turkey. It took place 2007, 2009. It looks like a metal craft, and at one point he zooms in, and it looks like you can see occupants in the craft itself. So watch, you can see, look, that's during the day. This guy filmed it 3 years in a row.
I can't see the occupant.
Well, there you go. They have, it's like these weird, they think those are, they think those are like, they look like gray alien heads.
They do look like gray alien heads.
So
wow. This is wild, guys.
It's never been debunked. Look at that. That unless it's a giant hoax.
That's actually a picture I used to send girls during my single days. No, it's incredible. If this is true, I mean,
it's never been. I've looked it up multiple times. It's never been debunked. The theory is that what you're looking at is the top of a cruise ship, but the guy shows you.
How is that a fucking top of the cruise? What cruise ship has ever looked like?
That's not. I think it's real. Unless it's just a giant hoax, but it never came out as a hoax.
I'm going to show that to my wife when I get home. So no fucking tonight, guys. That's amazing, though.
Isn't that insane?
That's incredible. My question is, I guess I don't really even...
Dude, that head with those... the only thing it can be is a hoax, because that's so dead on, that alien gray head right there. That is literally the shape of, unless it's like it's like Shroud of Turin, but the alien version.
By the way, they already look like they have more personality than Elon Musk. So. By far.
But the full on, this is one of the ones that I freaked out when I saw, and I would like go on these deep dives to try to see if it was debunked. And the only thing they came up with was somebody had a picture of like a cruise ship that's been in the area at times, but the guy shows it by itself in the daytime, like it's day into night, and it filmed it filmed it for like 40 minutes straight. Just was there the whole time.
And it knows that they were getting filmed, so I just think it's, again, the trickster thing.
Yeah.
Which I know we said gay aliens, but we did say with that Jake Barber interview that the best people at contacting them are gay men and children. So a gay child, perhaps, is the biggest conduit in the world. A young Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Maybe we can strap one to our sign. Just have him come. We just kidnap a gay child. A really liberal child at a Montessori school and tape him to the wall and try to get the aliens here.
The next week, you're a pedophile of the week.
and this week's pedophile of the week, Dan St. Germain. That's a perfect transition, Sean. Here's the news of the world.
Quick, it'd be so funny if that becomes a pedophile's excuse. You took this kid to fuck the kid. No, I was trying to signal the aliens. I don't know if you know.
Came in his mouth. No. All right. We're still going to do pedophile of the week, guys. And whatever is happening in the skies, it's not at all as crazy as what's happening between our shores. And let's go to the New York City where we're filming this podcast, baby. Shout out to The Stand. Let me read that. I have to read this article in full because I just the headline. Vampire God, I hate ads. Vampire obsessed pedo allegedly sexually abused 2 young girls in New York City school for years, even filming child porn in classrooms.
Jesus.
Dude, can you just feel the New York Post editor coming? Like when he reads this, he's just like, oh my God, this is going to fucking sell us. Wait, it's a pedophile, it's a black guy, and he's a fucking vampire? Are you kidding me? I'm going to be able to buy a beach house. You know, this is like their fucking.
This is like what's the thing when you win a Grammy, a Tony?
This guy's fucking hilarious, by the way.
What's the thing? EGOT. This is EGOT. An Emmy, a Grammy.
This guy, I guess.
That's him?
Yeah, it's on Instagram or TikTok. He's wearing some sort of female vampire gown, and he's in front of a castle, and he's talking about pushing the boundaries of what is sexually acceptable.
Oh, holy shit.
This is a tough guy.
In front of a castle. This should have been Nosferatu.
Yeah, he should have been Nosferatu.
This would have been way more fun to watch. Watch this guy play Nosferatu.
Yeah, this guy would be great as Nosferatu.
And
anyway,
this is on his. This is one of his TikToks.
Yeah, what did he do with the kids? Yeah, he was talking about being a vampire on TikTok, and I think he just molested the kids on camera. Didn't do any weird vampire shit. Let's see. Did he do bloodletting? Did he do that? This is the only one I haven't read the full thing from. All the alien ones I have.
Look at the first line, Dan.
What? Of left wing. A left wing vampire obsessed pedophile allegedly sexually abused. Oh, let me do this guy right again. A left wing. Oh, vampire obsessed pedophile. Oh, allegedly sexually abused 2 young girls for years at a Harlem school.
The city's a toilet. The city's a toilet. The city's a toilet.
Charter schools. Even like, yeah. So he basically had them pose for porn.
I'd say this article is one of the reasons the aliens aren't like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah, I know why I'm saying.
I think
they're about to come and they see this guy and they're like, let's take a rain check. They still got some things to figure out down there.
the fact that that he filmed it at school, staff and supervisors at PS 185. It's after-school program ignored requirements that empty classrooms be locked and staffers not be alone with kids. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Enabling McNeil. His name's McNeil. Last name. That's a good vampire
They were
name.
pissed about that. They're like, his name's not Jerome. It's McNeil. Fuck. It's not a perfect story.
Abuse of the West 112th Street School, but that's Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. Vampire pedophiles, definitely Jesus Christ. I know, guys. I know. Look, I'm all for alternate lifestyles, but I draw the line at vampire pedophile. I draw the line at vampire pedophile. Yeah, very different picture in his teaching app, Miles McNeil.
They have a screenshot of him from Tutor Extra. He'll charge you to rape your kid.
Oh, Jesus.
He does freelance pedophiling for your kids.
Well, did you attach a garlic clove to your daughter's vagina? You didn't? Well, then whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? How the Van Helsing's kid got molested. We just victim blame these poor fucking parents.
He tutors the kids but rapes them, and they're like, "Yeah, it's traumatizing, but his grades are like up." They're like, it's kind of you gotta weigh the.
You should. I mean, like, look, yes, my kid will never be the same again. But you should see the paper he wrote on Animal Farm. It's amazing. All right, I think that's our show this week, right? I am Dan St. Germain. You can join my YouTube channel, Dan St. Germain, and follow me on Instagram. Follow Burbs Bros on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I will be starting stand up again in April. I'll probably start getting on the tour again in like July or something. Once I book some dates. So stay tuned to what's happening at your local ground round. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, man, thank you for leaving the comments and, reach out and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, guys, I'm at Shawnee Time on Instagram. I'm going to be at the Wisecrackers in Pennsylvania March 7th and 8th. Come to those shows. It's a great club and hang out, gamble a little bit. Like Dan said, subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast.
If you want to, if seeing Sean doing comedy wasn't enough ruining your life, please go down to the blackjack tables.
Thanks so much to Pat. Thanks so much to all the YouTube regulars. Anybody new that subscribed. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.